In part 1, we discovered that the beast which rises out of the earth denotes the false prophet, confirmed by Revelation 16:13, 19:20, and 20:10. But this does not speak of an individual. Rather, it illustrates the collective and religious activity that manifests through man's soul or self, as indicated by the two horns like a lamb. The fact that it speaks like a dragon clearly implies deception, confirmed just a few verses later. Remember, whether we're speaking of the beast which rises out of the sea or the beast which comes up out of the earth, beast denotes the carnal nature. The carnal nature and mind is formed and sustained by pride, the inordinate love of the self, hence the reason Jesus said we must deny it. When we conduct our lives by the carnal mind, we can and will be deceived, for the pride of the self is very resistant to admitting that it might be wrong, regardless of proof. Now let's go to Revelation 13 for more understanding about the beast of the earth. Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. No doubt, this passage brings several questions to mind. First, we're told that the false prophet exercises all the authority of the first beast, referring to the beast which rises out of the sea. Not only is this true, it also makes the earth and its inhabitants worship this beast, which we're told had a mortal wound which was healed. The earth and its inhabitants denotes all who live solely by the self and its soulish desires. In Revelation 13:14, the phrase, "dwell on earth," expresses the same thought. Remember, the first man, Adam, is from the earth, a man of dust. So again, what do we read? It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and it makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. Let's consider the mortal wound first. In order to understand what is meant by this mortal wound, we must go to Revelation 12. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads 7 diadems. Have you ever wondered why the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is first seen as a great red dragon in Revelation 12? Are they the same entity? In a manner of speaking, they are, but there is a reason for their differences. Note that there are 7 diadems on the heads of the dragon, denoting fullness. This brings us to the following. But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons. Here Paul speaks of the Lord's coming to the Jews and the lost sheep of the house of Israel as the fullness of the time. This is the meaning of the 7 diadems on the heads of the dragon. And the dragon is clearly identified as that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan. With this in mind, consider what Jesus said to the Jews and religious leaders of his time. "You do the deeds of your father." Then they said to him, "We were not born of fornication. We have one Father, God." Jesus said to them, "If God were your Father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from God, nor have I come of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Because you are not able to listen to my word. You are of your father the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. I cannot imagine more sobering words than those which Jesus spoke to the Jews. You are of your father the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. Further proof of their spiritual apostasy is found in Matthew chapter 23, where the Lord speaks of 7 woes regarding the scribes and Pharisees, stating in no uncertain terms, "Fill up, then, the measure of your fathers, and your house is left to you desolate." What does the great red dragon represent? I believe it symbolizes the Jewish system of religion which existed in Jesus' day, which opposed the Lord throughout his entire ministry. So it is that we read the following. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Jesus told the Jews that their house was left desolate, devoid of life. This is what is pictured in our preceding passages, where we see the dragon, along with his angels, cast to the earth. This is the mortal wound or death stroke of Revelation 13:3, inflicted by the life which Christ embodied. We're told that this mortal wound was healed, and it was, or we find that the great red dragon reappears by means of the beast, which rises out of the sea. We read in Revelation 13:2, and to it, that is, the beast of the sea, the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. Just a couple of verses later we read, and they worshiped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast. This brings us back to the following. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. There is still much to be considered regarding the beast of the earth, so in part 3, we'll continue our examination.